up, nerds? It's Emio time. Where's Gumshoe? I wish, dude. Columbo's in this at least. Occasionally. Otherwise you get the basic everyman and then his partner, plain Jane girl, the professionals. Alright. Let's get started. So when we left off, finally went down the trail, the breadcrumb trail of the missing person from 18 years ago who may or may not be the Smiling Man, but is definitely related to the case itself and possibly the current murder. I don't know if there's going to be murders. I'm actually surprised there's just been one. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, so we're gonna go into the apartment that was full of blood, but with a missing person 18 years ago here, so. See how we get in though. So I guess if you guys aren't familiar with what's going on, from the beginning I suppose, we are playing as a member of the Umutsugi, I don't remember what the fuck the name is, detective agency. Relatively amateur detective, working under a more experienced one who's never there. This guy has solved the mysteries in the last 2 games. It's just kind of like an Ace Attorney type of thing. But there was a murder of a young man, junior high, 15 years old, supposedly by a man and or a woman or a creature, a thing, a person, who knows, in a paper bag with a smiley face on it. His name's the Smiling Man, Emio or something. And so 18 years ago, there also happened to be some killings involving paper bags with smiley faces on them. So they're trying to find the connection here. A lot of missing people during this. A lot of people close to the case are working on the police force. Yeah, so right now we're investigating something the police can't really investigate. They kind of hire these people out to kind of try to solve stuff and help them with the detectiving. And so this particular bit here is something that's relatively closed case in the police force, so they can't really reopen it. So they're having this guy handle it on this side of things. So. But anyways, we just had a bunch of drama. Where the man has been missing for a long time, ended up working at a mechanic shop and essentially becoming their surrogate son, not surrogate, but their pseudo son, I don't even know what you call it. And then he mysteriously left. That kind of led us to this. They got pretty pissed because, you know, we're seeing if he's a murderer, so they don't think it's possible, but they decided that they'd trust our guy and to come to them first if we find their son, essentially. So our guy's been throwing out suspicion on a lot of people, including the detective of the case, this son we're talking about, other people. There's a lot of people who look possible, but who it actually is, we're not quite sure yet. Who's that? I was hoping for something spooky, but we got another goofball.
ここで何しとる？
Well, maybe it's not that goofy, he just looks kind of goofy. He's in an all fucking purple fucking satin suit here. Joe character's one important line. He's up here and he's looking serious, but it's quite the suit, yeah. Maybe we won't see him again though. He looked very comedic hiding around the corner in a purple suit, but not anymore.
Minoru Tsuzuki. Minoru-kun.
おじいさんはエミオってご存知ですか？
わしはエミオ。
I am a smiling man. This guy just crazy? Or is he like an old killer? Just the one death, yeah. And then of course everything that happened 18 years ago, which we're pretty detached from, which is kind of not to the game's benefit. You end up investigating mostly stuff you're very detached from. It's not that it's uninteresting, but it does kind of lend itself to be a little less spicy if they don't slide in a few events here and there.
ここで何しとる？
実は僕探偵である事件の調査をしているんです。
ある探偵の。
いや、
ここで何しとる？わしは。はあ。
情報を得るのは厳しいかな。情報を得るのは。
はあ。
This guy gonna be like an old killer or something?
おじいさん、ありがとう。
血に染まった部屋。笑い声。叫び声をわしは聞いたんじゃ。
エミオは真っ赤な部屋にする。違うよ。
このおじいさん、昔のことを知っている。
The swag's ingrained in him. Dude can fucking tie a tie and button up all perfect, but he can barely fucking function. Maybe he's got a helper that for some reason doesn't follow him around town.
おじいさん、昔何か見たんです。
わしは男を見た。
男？
わしは見わしは
今はやめておこう。
I would not be surprised if this is a power limiting fucking fedora here.
おじいさんから。
わしは
あ、おじいさん。この人に。どう。
わしは見たんじゃ。
Yeah, I would say it's a little too faithful. Now, I'm down for a detective game. I gotta think a lot, apply the right stuff, but I want it to be smart. I want to feel like I'm there, like, you know, maybe I should ask this, or maybe I should show this. I think sometimes it can get that way, and it's definitely better than the first two on that front, but a lot of the time, like I've said, it's a flowchart. You just ask everything. When you can't ask anymore, you hit think. When neither of those work, you check the guy, and in some rare instances like this, you show him stuff. And then once all that's done, you leave. And there's not enough of a dynamic there for true agency. Right, like, I mean, a machine could run through this. There's no, like, fail state or... You know, in the old games even, I would say you had to run around to more locations and think about maybe where you wanted to be. This is very linear. And I'm fine with it just being pure linear, but I think if you're going to put in gameplay like this, the worst thing you could do is just make it tedious. And this gets close. And I would imagine to a lot of people it is. Now, there's way more tedious, annoying adventure games out there. It's not like it's the worst of the bunch. It's not too bad. I mean, you just keep moving, but you're essentially playing what feels like a linear VN where I just have to, like, fuck around to get to that point. If the quizzes were actually, like if the story was complicated enough where I could solve things and then still have more story to solve beyond that, maybe the quizzes would be more interesting, but they tend to be just like quizzes on reading comprehension, which, I mean, that's okay, but as far as like fresh, new, detective-y gameplay stuff, it's kind of whatever. I get it. This is more accessible. There's just enough gameplay that probably keeps people interested, but I think something like Ace Attorney, which is still very mainstream, very accessible, is far more smart. Like, the adventure game stuff is pretty much the same, but you have to actually get items like in an adventure game and apply them to specific things or press certain things based on what's been going on. And I wouldn't call Ace Attorney a terribly super crazy smart game. I mean, it knows what it's doing. But yeah, I find that much more engaging. Hell, even just walking around in like a Danganronpa in like a fucking level is probably more engaging as a detective thing than just like pressing a bunch of fucking dialogue options in this. Not by much, and overall it's probably not. But I mean, in that even in Danganronpa, there's like the cases, the trials. They're not really hard, but you have to apply yourself a bit on like the bullets and stuff. So I don't know. For something really detective-y, you don't really. It's mostly just kind of a linear thing with like the illusion of you doing something. So compared to say something like, now I don't expect a game like this to be like Oberdin, but like that's like detectiving, or like Golden Idol maybe or something. But like the whole game, right? You know, logic and deduction and stuff based on observation with lots of agency, and a lot of adventure games are like that too. You need to get items, you need to think about where to use them, you need to think about who's who, And I mean, there's different levels of complexity, but for a game that touts itself as like a detective club, I don't know. I get they want to be safe-ish. It's 30 years later. I think they take a few little boundary pushes. Like I says, the quizzing and having to check some of your notes occasionally for little stuff. But they don't do much there. Now I hope they keep making these, and I hope they actually, if not just make the stories godly, like maybe get a bit more ballsy with the gameplay, but we'll see.
アベックを見たんじゃ。
キャベックとはな。
仲睦まじい男女じゃった。わしは知っ
何か知っていることがあるんですね。
何でも知っとる。
何でもって。
は？何を知っとると言うんじゃ。
僕が聞き。
女がおった。
A mystery game with anti-save scum measures would be cool. So there's a choice. Player tries to reload to see their branch, but prevents that. Versus linear progression. It has choices that cannot be walked back. So like a VN or maybe like a detective sandbox or something. I think it would have to be a pretty robust, very well thought out game, but yeah, that would be cool. So in a story sense, a detective sandbox, it'd be like Shadows of Doubt or something. Or like Payne's Creek Killings or some shit. You could almost even say Overdin's kind of, maybe not a sandbox because it's not really immersive sim-like, but yeah, Shadows of Doubt's a new kind of procedural one. Yeah, Paradise Killer has a bit of it. Now I think a more curated one where it's like, okay, you know, it's short. I think the big thing on this kind of game would be that it has to be short. So I don't know how robust of a mystery you can make it unless it's like a very tight, small kind of one. But the idea where, you know, I could take this route and I just fail it, so I end up in this thing, and then I go do this, and having the story still feel like really interesting and stuff. Yeah, it could be cool. I don't know. I mean, Disco Elysium is kind of that way. A lot of old CRPGs. I mean, Disco Elysium doesn't have an anti-save scum feature, but it has fail states that are more interesting than like than success states sometimes. Sometimes there's just stuff that you either get or you don't get, so it's not perfect. It is a detective game, kinda. It's there. It's the whole crux of the whole game, but it's the world's a bit more important. But yeah, something a bit more gameplay, kind of dynamic, not just raw narrative. Maybe, I don't know. It would have to be tight. I mean, LA Noire, you could fail the cases or get like bad ratings on them, or not figure out certain things, but I think it was fail states. I think your rating, they let you just move on if you had a bad rating or if you didn't like figure everything out, or you didn't perfectly get everything. And it does change some of the events, but the game's kind of fucked. Deletes the game and it calls you a failure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're thinking like to be a real detective, right? Like I go out I need to walk around this place and check the right things and catch the right clues. And if I miss those past a certain time, or I just miss them in general, you know, the game moves on knowing what little I have and what I can apply to certain places. And then you end up in a dead man walking situation. I mean, LA Noire does have that, kind of. But the problem is it's just not robust enough and tight enough. But yeah, I do think that would, I would love like a really ballsy, like, you gotta think pretty hard, notes, kind of, you know, you're exploring around, figuring shit out, or maybe it's linear. You need to apply yourself, and there's realistic levels of failure, and then the story kind of just moves on, assuming you don't know certain things, and characters kind of act a certain way. I mean, like I said, if it was really small, and you could have the characters all kind of act under certain amounts of info, or you act poorly based on info that you found, I mean, that would be cool. That's kind of what I was saying, is like, well, you think of like an actual story, right? Routes and like agency and stuff provide, you know, variety or certain kinds of story beats and stuff, but if it was like completely at all times reacting to what you're doing, it might be hard to have like at this moment, you know, this guy dies, and it's very dramatic, and it caps off a character arc, and there's like themes and nuance. Like, it might be almost impossible to have this like this build up and have these like this ebb and flow, and like, you know, even like a chapter formula, you know, like with movies and stuff, or like arc formula. It's like, it might be impossible to do that. I mean, that's what would make it more unique to video games, you know, having the player be a part of it. Having agency gives a certain kind of, I guess, emotional feedback than what a movie could do. Even if you lost like a 3-act structure, or some kind of like building, rising, and, you know, piece of story. Because I mean, like, if you're just like, okay, how do you have like, you know, let's say that the climax of the story is we find out this guy is an alien, right? And there's some deep themes about, you know, what you know and what you don't know, or some shit, I don't know. But it's like, and so it needs to do with all these hints and little things, and to like get to this point, and then it becomes this like really deep, interesting thing when they reveal it, with all the right context and the right build up and the pacing, and even just shots and art. But like, if you fail, you go on a different route where you eat shit out of a toilet for 3 hours, and then all of a sudden you just find out he's an alien. It's like, it's like interesting because there's like agency and stuff, but it's like, it could just like kill a story unless it's like really based around, I guess, the the structure there. That's why I feel like it would need to be short, so you could have like really strong branching actions everywhere that don't feel like half-assed, like in a lot of Western RPGs and CRPGs. So, well, that's the thing, is how do you handle pacing properly if at any moment integral things or fail states that aren't, you know, aren't actually fail states kind of happen. You could. I mean, there's probably shit like that. I've probably even played some shit like that, but I just can't remember off the top of my head. It's cool for sure, but yeah. Something short, for sure. Like, even CRPGs, right? It's like, you go do a side quest, and a lot of the time that side quest isn't going to have any bearing on the main stuff, so it can have all these consequences, and you can miss stuff like Baldur's Gate 3 or something, right? You can go fight this one boss, and if you don't save this person in a cage, or you don't find the thing before you go to this thing, or you don't apply the right dialogue, the whole story of it changes, and, you know, that's just how it is. So it's like, but generally that isn't going to come back into the main story, so having it be more like detective-y. I don't know, the thing with the like mysteries though is like there is this like this build up and very careful divvying out of what you know and what you don't know. So I don't know. That would make it cool though if you like replayed it a bunch and you slowly discovered more shit. And they like expected you to probably fail certain things, but maybe not other things. And then you like got more context and it kind of became its own twist. Like, oh, I found this thing on the next replay and I realized this thing, and maybe that like recontextualizes the whole story, and then you further discover what's going on beyond just what the surface story kind of seems like. I mean, there's stuff kind of like we talked about Paradise Killer. Semi-spoilers, but you know, you can end Paradise Killer a certain way. But you can end it in other ways too and get different endings and find out more of the mystery and stuff, so. Well, yeah, the question would be, would you just go from the start, like have to restart from the beginning, or would you just jump to branches? I'm not even thinking VNs right now. I'm thinking more just like actual, like a sandbox thing. VNs, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's most VNs, is trying to create like narrative branching stuff, and half the time it just works better when it's just like major routes or linear, unless it's like gameplay oriented, like Ace Attorney, which is fail states. So, I mean, traditionally games will just have like different endings at the end, like a Silent Hill or something, that they don't have to create like a complicated thing, but you know, you might get a little bit extra, a little bit more story if you were really careful or paid attention to certain plot beats and applied. A lot of horror does this, where you apply a lot of like hidden stuff. If you're paying attention to the story to the right places, and you'll get the whole thing, right? Even pieces of shit like Deathmark, you know. Certain people will die if you're not careful and apply the right stuff based on the mystery, and then that means you can't get the true ending and all that. And so it's like there's like really primitive ways it works, but yeah, I guess we're talking something way more complicated and nuanced, with a lot less like literal fail states, or seeming like you might not even know they're fail states, right? It's things you've missed. You know, question is, how do you get somebody to replay something like that, or find out they missed something? I guess you could just make it seem like in the story there just was something not quite there. I mean, it could just be really niche. You don't have to explain it. Could be a discussion thing, like, you know, X person found this out and is like, I didn't even see that because I'm fucking dumb as shit, and then you go back and you rediscover more story. I don't know.
女の人ですか？このアパートにでしょうか？
ダイナマイト。
Dynamite?
え？爆弾？
セクシーダイナマイト。
Oh, sexy dynamite.
Eh?
ドッカンじゃ。
ああ。おじいさん、
わしは見た。いや違う。ニコニコ。
笑顔。
怖い。わしは怖いんじゃ。まんまる 白い伸びる。
白いまん丸
Gotta
伸び
love
る。
vague, senile people and mysteries to try to give you just a little something, but not like anything actually like clues or anything specific.
もうダメじゃ。
何が？
わしは何を知っとると。
この話は
仲睦む。わしは
やつというのは
お前も知っ。
誰？
あいつはあいつ。
本当に誰？
あいつめ。歌。
おじいさん。
歌を忘れた。
何なんだ？
は
情報を得るのは厳しいかな。情報を得るのはじゃあ僕。
違う。血に染まったのは。
おじいさん、何があったんです？
歌を。わしは聞いた。歌を。ミノルくん。わしは歌を。
血に染まった部屋や子供たちでも。
わしは血に染まった覆面の男。
血に染まった覆面の男。
I mean, could you even take anything this guy says seriously? Considering how much insane shit he says. Like maybe you could just listen and like roll off of it as like a really fringe hunch, but I mean the dude's barely even fucking lucid, man.
血に染まった覆面の。血に染まっ。
Better have something very detailed.
怖い。わしは怖いんじゃ。
おじいさん、大丈夫ですか？
わしは
おじいさん。
お父さん、また知らない人に昔話をして。
What's up, dude?
すみませんね。ちょっと目を離すと一
He
人で
does have
出
a
てっちゃう
handler.
もので。
That explains how he's dressed up so nice.
ここで何しとる？言ったじゃろう。覆面の男がおるか。ここで遊ぶなと何度も言うとるじゃろう。
この人はヒロシじゃありませんよ。
あれは誰じゃ？
知りません。ヒロシはもう大学生ですよ。
ところで飯はまだかい？
さっきだ。
お化けアパートでの収穫はなしか。血に染まった覆面の男というのが。
Riveting. Massive info.
どうしたんだい坊や。今日も聞き込みか。
You're telling me that on the night that the blood appeared in his place and someone disappeared, that maybe Emio was there? Like, Jeez, golly, you call me fucking shocking over here. Like, maybe from the viewpoint of like a detective, you know, that could be surprising because there's so many possibilities. But in the narrative, it's like, of course it's related to Emio. So it's barely any info to us at all.
ママさん。はい、そうなんです。
私はこれから出勤さ。店は。
あ、そうか。そうですよね。
もうや。なんか今日。
僕、そんな風に見えますか？
Here.
何年客商売してると思ってんだい。わかるんだよ。そうね。どうしたのさ。おやおや、図星みたいだね。神ちゃんってさ、いつもヘラヘラしてるだろ。あれってさ。
Yeah, we were just talking a lot about it. It's not in depth enough to really feel like an actual detective thing because you just flowchart it. You essentially just spam listen on every topic, then you hit think, and then you check them, and occasionally there's one or two other options, but so it's supposed to feel like a detective thing, but it's not really ever difficult or requires much thought that like a fucking robot couldn't just do. It's essentially just move through the game. No fail states, you don't even need to decide where to go anymore. Barely even need to decide what to interact with. All the quizzes are just reviews, so I wish they kind of either went harder on the detective stuff and made you have to think, like it was just smarter and you had to think harder about stuff, or they just made it more linear, honestly, with like limited engagement. I get that you want to make it some kind of gameplay to appeal to the masses a bit more, and there's a traditionalism there because of the first two in the 80s were kind of this way, so but I definitely don't think it's the pinnacle of what it could be.
怖いんだよ。人に自分。神ちゃんは今大変だ。その神ちゃんが坊やに対して感情的になったっていう信用されてるんだよ。悪いね。
ママさん、ありがとうございました。
大概のことは事件が解決したら店によ。
はい。
よし、いつもの顔に戻ったね。じゃあ待ってるよ。
The first two are like this, but you have to choose where to go more often, which might be better, but yeah, no, it's the same way of handling dialogue. You get used to it, and it's not really that bad, but it's just not like,
信用されてるか。
it's not the end game. It's kind of, you could call it unique, but I don't know, it's just kind of in this little twilight between being an actual adventure game and just a linear VN. Why tell the kids?
この辺りに住む。この辺りに住む子供。
変人のお兄ちゃんだ。
ねえねえ、お化けアパートのことを知りたい。
Detectives bundle. Killer frequency. I guess. Immortality. Very experimental, very interesting, but I like Paradise Killer. All Cthulhu, I guess, had Detective. Yeah. I haven't played Dark Side Detective or Overboard. I think I own one of the Dark Side Detective games though. What is Overboard? Can you not do like smaller bundles now? You have to do like the whole thing. To pay $10. I mean, if I hadn't already played like most of these and owned the others, maybe I would do it for Overboard because I'm curious. You can do it sometimes, just not always. Here, let me check out Overboard on Steam. I mean, it's not a bad bundle. You liked watching your friend play it? Overboard. Oh, creator of Heaven's Vault. I think I've seen this one. Her story. Did her story have an end? Outside of like the very true end thing? Was there like different end attempts on that, but you could find more info beyond that? I don't remember. In a way, you could consider that more of like a player detective thing. That's Sam Barlow as well, the Immortality person. That one requires a little bit more thought. Probably. It's funny because for $10 you can get all those. But Overboard on its own is $15. It's like, I don't think I'd pay $10 just for Overboard, but not too bad. I think I have Dark Side Detective. I have A Fumble in the Dark. I don't know if that's the first one or the second one. Oh, it's the second one. I don't have the first one. I wonder if that Duck Detective game was any good. I think it's supposed to be like pretty much auto plays itself. Then maybe at some point I'll pick up the first Dark Side Detective. You watched Dark Side Detective? That was fine. Yeah, I mean there's only 3 games out of these I play because there's only 3 I haven't already done. Oh, the Duck one. Okay. Yeah, it seemed alright. It seemed more like a Frog Detective type of thing. Yeah, it's always my problem with these bundles. On a personal level, I've just already played like half of them usually. The best ones are the ones that I've already played a shitload of. Yeah, if you guys haven't picked up the Resident Evil one, I mean, that's a must-have. $30 for all of these? It's pretty nutty. Hell, even just 20 without RE8. That's pretty good. RE4 Remake isn't in here. There's no coupon, but you only own 4 and 5? Yeah. It would still be worth it in my opinion. These are all really good. Even RE3 remake and Zero are still fun. Revelations are fun enough. You can do some co-op. The original RE1's great. 6 is but 7's good, 8's good, RE2 remake is really good. This remake is solid. They're all solid. Maybe some are kind of questionable, but yeah, that's the best Resident Evil bundle there'll ever be.
Monday.
4 and 5 are always like pennies, so you're not missing a whole lot just having those be a part of the bundle. They're not the big value, really. It's the remakes in 8 and 7 that are. And those come with all the DLC too, which is a big deal. There's a lot of DLC for a lot of those.
お兄ちゃん、もしかしてお化けアパートに。
そう、さっき行ってきちゃったんだ。
お兄ちゃん、よく。変人には変人でないと。お兄ちゃんが。
大人げないことをしてる。
あれ？変人だ。じゃあね。バイ。
もう一度工事現場の人に。
The coolest weirdo of them all.
よう、さっきのあんちゃんじゃねえ。悪い、あんまり時間がねえんだ。予定が変わって今日は作業を切り上げることに。
そうなんですか。
マジで勘弁。第一似顔絵を何度見たって。
でも。
おい。ああ、わかった。つうことで、そうか。ちょっと待ってな。
That guy over there.
あんちゃん、これ俺たちの送迎車のドライバーなんだ。
Nice
鈴木の
throw,
こと
dude.
覚えてるはずだぜ。
本当ですか。すいません。
よう、どっちの鈴木だったの？あ？俺はだよね。
間違いありませんか。
現場を引き上げるときはいつも天候を取るんだ。鈴木はいつもマスクしてたんだけど。
He's got the gray like fro.
天候の時は外して
Frosted fro here.
だから名前と顔は一致してるよ。
記憶力がいいんだぜ。記憶力がいいんだ。
The baker. And I really like the baking mod. What's his dad? Is his dad's name Edgeworth's dad? That was a nice case. Creative location.
なぜそんなことに。やはり鈴木さんは。
まあとにかく変わったやつだった。
飲みに行こうぜって誘っても笑ったような目をするだけで返事もしねえ。
ほとんど喋んないし。そういう人ははっきり言って
Oh yeah.
った印象がないんだ。
Must there be a
でも気づかないよ。
collection now?
でもなんとなくいいや。
鈴木さんについて。
そうだな。
最終日？
お前が忘れてどうす。作業員のほとんどは続きは現場まで。ところが工事の最終日の帰りに
俺が誘ったんだよ。
どうしてなんです。
あ あいつ変わってっから。
ラストチャンスだって言ってたよな。
そうだっけ。
それで続きが降りた場所っていうのが民家も何にもない山の。
He lived in the mountains.
ずいぶん妙なところで降りるんだなと思って。
草木をかき分けるようにして山の中へ入っていったんだよな。
お前は熊かって俺思わず叫んじまったけど。
ABBA music. Dude, the ABBA music carries 99% of the fucking atmosphere in this shit, dude. Jesus, man. This guy putting fucking mages on his back, man.
まあ山菜採りにでも行ったんだろう。そんなわけねえか、あんな時間から。
その鈴木さんが降りた場所教えてもらえますか？
No, it's in this. Kashiyama is just a fucking unit, man.
ああ、ヤマンバ峠ってとこだよ。
This shit's too good for some of these games, man.
ヤマンバ峠。
I'll have to get the OST for this one.
気味悪い名前だよな。
ないない、あんな危ないとこ。
行ってみよう。
See you, dudes. Should he call someone? Final chapter. Damn. We are close.
ここが鈴木が車を降りたというヤマンバ峠か。
There could be a murderer out here. Better go alone. Not let anybody know.
全くと言っていいほど車が通らないかなり山奥の峠だ。不気味なくらい静まり返っている。
If you didn't know the general length of this game, I think that this is the last chapter. Would probably shock you because it doesn't really feel like it's getting that close at all. Maybe this is a really long chapter.
街まで歩くと熊注意。草が踏みつけられたよ。やぶがすごいけど進むしかない。もう暗くなり始めているからちょっと行けるところまで行ってみよう。結構大変なところに入ってきちゃった。これじゃ登山しているようなもんだよ。風の音や鳥の鳴き。
I wonder if his phone is dead.
あ、しまった。バッテリーが残り少ない。またやっちゃったよ。
Just about.
いざという時のために使う。こんな森の中で。蛇とか出てこない。
John Famicom, yeah. I know he's a first week phone owner, but come on now.
うっそうとした森
Clearly
の中
very useful tool.
たどってきた踏み跡は
Yeah, this is a
まだ先へと続いて
1990.
いる。
So he has like a big, like, chunky flip phone. Yeah, he's got a reason to forget. Yeah. This is the second time he's forgotten. But his associate doesn't forget.
この先は急。この
The
踏み
tree,
跡だ
the
けが頼
ants.
りだな。
It takes a long time to kill humans in Entish.
人が通った痕跡だろうか。これがなかった看板や目印は全く見当たらないから、登山道というこの森の奥で隠れるように。もうちょっと。 今の坂かなりきつかった。
This guy doesn't take this very serious, man.
さて次はどうす。まさかこんな山の迷って遭難してしまわない。
Maybe he should have showed up here during the day.
さらに
Like
や
earlier?
ちゃんと調べないと。
It's alright. Nighttime means we get to enjoy atmosphere.
どれだけのね。珍しいか。
Really? He's wondering about rare beetles right now? Seems like a pretty serious time.
行くしかない。
Siba NTR teacher, yeah.
これは困ったぞ。登っていく方の下っていく方の道だ。
There was quite a few of them. She's done it like 5 or 6 times now. He was gonna stop being a teacher, and then she talked him into not stopping being a teacher because he's good at it. That's kind of how he ended his little deal. We got some info from him about school uniforms and shit that might be useful, and
右へ行ってみよう。踏み跡を続
they
け
went
て
on for a while, but this guy met him too and did some shit, but
下り坂になっているのが。開けた場所に出た。気のせいだろうか。あ、ここ最初に入ってき。しょうがない。もう一度。
I thought the one with a lot of tracks was actually
さっきの分かれ道まで戻っ
like
て
a
きた。
proper path that just kind of met up here, and he went down the one that had less because he was just one guy. I guess this is supposed to be really far off the beaten path.
そうだ。水が流れている。深くはないが。この沢。ということは、誰があれ？やはり。岩を伝っていけ。慎重。また別れ。手書きの立て札だ。通行金しか。
Maybe she was doing something for her brother out here. I don't know. Help him survive. I don't know. Or maybe they had like a secret hangout.
壊れた立て札
I was dressed right. I don't even think he has a flashlight in case it gets dark.
隠したように見えなくも無用のものの立ち入りを禁ず。左は子供にも向けた立て札のようだから危険そうだ。突き当たりは普通じゃの。手書きの立て札は次はこんなところにお地蔵さんは。
An old Jizzo statue.
あれ、花が咲かない。花はつい最近のもの。よく。
Interesting. Someone's been here recently. Sure hope nothing happens here.
小屋がある。かなり古い。
Golly gee, wouldn't it be awkward if there was a murder here?
やっと森を抜けたぞ。
Better yell it out loud, you fucking idiot.
なんだここは。いざという時のために。はい、人の気配が奥には工事関係者の人たちが言う続き。人が住んでいそう。なんか出てきそう。外壁がそばにはだ。人の気配。鈴木みのるが、それは本当に鈴木みのるなんだろうか。よし。
あなた、ここで何をしているの？
久世刑
That's
事
about how sneaky our guy is, man.
久世刑事こそこんなところで何を。
質問に答えなさい。
実は鈴木みの、僕はその調査のため。もし
Yeah, he's not the smartest. I mean, it's literally a completely quiet day, and everything's overgrown. So any rustling you'd hear, and she got the jump on his ass, man.
久世刑事がここにいらっしゃる。やはり
And he's just talking out loud. Golly gee, that sure was quiet in the fucking hill. Yeehaw, buckaroo. Just, if I wanted to kill him, dude, it'd be easy money.
警察の捜査情報は公害無用。民間人のあなたに。
Are we still dealing with this chick being untalkative here?
今呼ぶべき。
これは
この似顔絵を見て、この人が、つまり。常に冷静沈着。自分の家を訪れたい。
Does she really think it's possible? I mean, Jesus, dude, don't you think it's possible?
いつもと雰囲
Is he fucking stupid? He's just out here for a leisurely stroll in the fucking middle of the abandoned woods.
気。鈴木みのるが、この配送のどこか。
Christ, man.
あのね、事件に関する質問にはあなたの仕事はここまで。あとは警察に任
I don't believe you. You're hiding and stuff.
確かに久世刑事の言う通り。うん。そういえば、久世刑事。久世刑事は、まさか単独で乗り込む。
心配ないわ。さっき大丈夫。単独行動なんて。だからあなたは
ですが、
行きなさい。言うことを聞かないと公務執行。
久世刑事。
前にも言ったわよね。私の仕事の邪魔だけは。さあ、言って。同じことをな。
Yeah. Arrest me.
考えてみれば、警察関係者でもない僕、このままじゃ、久世刑事の邪魔をしている。久世刑事のことは心配だけど、僕の調査は。僕の調査。
Okay. I guess something will happen so that he
あなたの仕事はここまで。
keeps doing shit.
あなたの仕事。あなたは今すぐ。
僕の調査。
あなたの仕事はここまで。あなたの仕事。いい加減にしな。
僕の調査。僕の調査。
あなたの仕事は。行きなさい。あなたの仕事。
You really think that?
確かに、久世刑事のおっしゃる。久世刑事、くれぐれも。
What in the fuck are they smoking, man?
失礼します。ここまでが探偵の原。
It's time to scream or something.
やっぱり、せめて応援が来るまでは。
Wow.
久世刑事
The quit investigation button being literal instead of literally just quitting the game.
やっぱり一人で続きの元へ。
Call Kamihara, the police.
どこかの廃屋の中に入ったんだろうか。どこだろう。また一軒一軒見てもあるしか。また銃声だ。
What is he gonna do?
距離かなり近いぞ。
Yeah, to me it's not literal at all because it's been a utility thing, but
こっちか。音が聞こえた方向を考え。よし。まずは、
no, I would be calling somebody before I even got here.
久世刑事、大丈夫ですか。
これが都築実。18年前の一連の事件の。そして佐々木エース。都築は静止に同時危険を感じた私は発砲。ひるむこともなく平然とそしてだから私はなんとかその手を
Do
振
we
りほど
believe
き
her?
手近にあったナタで都築をあいつの頭を。
よほどのショックを受けた。
これは都築。
暗くて顔がよく血まみれの男性。
Really some shenanigans going on here.
顔にひどい。まずは落ち着いて。この男は。
そうこれが
これが都築実だという。彼女は似顔絵を現在の都築の姿を予想して描かれた似顔絵。これは本当に。
私が。
状況は単身でこの廃屋に乗り込んだ久世刑事は身の危険を感じた彼女はやむなく発砲した。待てよ。僕が聞いた銃声は2発だ。拳銃を奪われた久世刑事はその手を振りほどき、久世なんだ。
Jesus, buddy. Maybe it's time to call the police before you get your ass kicked.
久世刑事。
Like she might be loony.
僕の携帯電話。とにかく上原刑事に知らせましょう。僕が連絡します。
Oh, I dropped my cell phone.
県外だ。そうか、山奥だから
That's
電
so
波が届かない。
stupid, man.
県外だって待てよ。
心配ないわ。
The thing is, he considers her one of the major suspects. So even if she isn't, he should be a little sussy. But he's like, oh, the fucking cell phone.
一体どういう。
なぜ行かなかったの？なぜここに来たのよ。
久世刑事。
ごめんなさい。あなたには死んでもらうわ。
待ってください。
18年前のあの日。
We know. It's always 18 years.
家を飛び出した私は人気のない道。そこへ一台の車が止まった。私は顔を上げ、笑顔の紙袋をかぶった男が立っていたの。私怖くて。男はエミコ。私は力を振り絞って思い。男は動じる様子もなく、なぜか悲しそう。私の首に両手を。そこへ兄が走ってきた。兄は男に襲いかかった。そして男は馬乗りになって兄の首を。兄が死んでしまう。そう思った私は無我夢中で男に掴みかかった。その時私が掴んでいた紙袋が
I
取
mean,
れ
I
てしまっ
guess
た。
she's stressed, so
繰
she
り
needs
返した
to
そ
let
い
it
つは
all
こっちを
out.
向いた。
Hiding it, I guess.
その時私は男の顔を見、まるで袋に書かれた顔と同じだった。私は恐怖で凍りついてしまった。我に帰った時、続きの車でもぐったりした兄を、あいつの姿は今でもはっきりと覚えてる。私だけが帰ってきたことに驚いた祖父母。私は目の前で起きたこと、あいつのでも一番何より大切な兄、そしてそれをお兄ちゃん、大好きなお兄ちゃんが、私があんなひどいことさえ言わなければ、そんな私の身代わりに兄は連れ去られてしまった。自分が連れ去られればよかった。やがて警察関係者がうちに来た。兄のことをいろいろと尋ねられたわ。何も知らないとしか言えなかった。村中の人も兄を探そうとしてくれた。
But why? Even for a child, why would you? So if you care about your brother that much, why would you? Why hide what you saw? And they're trying to make it seem like she's just that mentally fucked, I guess, but it's probably the hardest thing to buy.
兄が見つかるはずがないことを私は知っていた。
Knew it was useless. Why? It's one of them stories where they just kids can be as dumb as you want them to be because they're kids or something, I guess. I think after you talk to a kid enough, they would eventually crack or like change the story or something. I think a normal person probably would even, let alone a fucking kid. Yeah, I get if she was just like scared that he was gonna get her or something, if he said anything. Like he said something to her.
その男は
そうよ、私たち兄弟をめちゃく殺されて当然でしょ。
エミコ。やっぱり来てくれたんだ。
Is this gonna be her brother and she shot him or something? I guess he has a disfigured face. But like, I mean, you could disfigure your face and then look like the guy. Also, she's just crazy? How did those other people recognize him as like somebody normal? Nobody said they saw a fucking skull face, man. If it was in that fire in the case 18 years ago, that'd be one thing. But maybe Suzuki hung out with them before all that happened with the fire. None of it makes sense. Her brother now saving her? Gonna protect her brother or some shit? Maybe that was Suzuki then. Or someone else. Who knows?
あなたはこのあいつに撃たれて死んだことになってもらうわ。やっと会えた兄と暮らすためなの。
兄
Where's the other guy? He's fucking crazy.
兄さん。
君は
誠兄ちゃん、私よ、純子よ。
純子。誠兄ちゃん。
Boy, Emio.
そうよ、誠兄さん。やっぱり無事だったのね。
無事。何のことなんだ。
兄さん。もしや兄さん。
僕は誰だ。君は一体誰だ。
これ。兄さん、綺麗なお花をありがとう。兄さん、今すぐここから離れて。早くさあ早く行きなさい。 らずにこんなところで20年近くも暮らしてきたのに、もう辛い思いはさせたく、今すぐ自由にして。ごめん。
Still not sure why she didn't tell the police, man. It's a kid. So did she not even kill this guy? She just shot the shots to scare him off, and then her brother came by and killed the guy for her, and now she's gonna kill him to like cover it up. But she's probably not gonna have the nuts. Woohoo.
クゼ刑事。クゼ刑。
順行泣かすな
Is this guy an idiot?
止まって、兄さん。止まりなさい。
Shoot him in the legs, man.
兄さん。兄さん。
So far, yeah, I'd say. I mean, I don't know if there's like a bunch more.
おかえりあゆみちゃん。
Or they're just gonna explain away the 18 years ago cases, or what?
うん。順調に回復されてるみたいよ。急所に当たらなくて。
I mean, the presentation's great.
上原刑事の射撃の腕のおかげだね。
Like, Kamihara was just there.
本当は急所を狙
Oh,
ったつもりだっ
jeez,
たんだ
ain't
から。
that fucking coinkydink.
あの時、久世誠に発砲したのは上原刑事だった。彼は最近の久世刑事の様子に違和感を覚えていたそうだ。
He probably just followed her.
最近の久世刑事は予定
He's
にない
a good
単独
guy.
行動がかなり増えていたという。
Is there like an extra twist in this?
今回、
I mean, their boss hasn't even come back to talk about the origins. Are they just gonna info dump us? About Suzuki? What about his
バイクの
pseudo
こと、
parents?
そしてネクタイのことを知った上原刑事は、可能な限り彼女の動向に注意を払っていたよ。
I feel like there's another chunk or something.
久世刑事が
What else is there
一
to
人
answer?
配送に向かったことに
There's another
いち早く
copycat
気づい
killer?
た上原刑事だが、警察署からの呼び出しで足止めを食ってしまい、駆けつけるのがやや遅れてしまったという。
I mean, really?
彼もまた
There's so many contrived events
イレ
there,
ギュラーな
man.
行動を取り続
And
け
you're
て
telling me the whole thing's because she, as a kid, just said, "Duh, there's no way it would work, so I'm not gonna say anything."
久世ちゃんは
What?
その人を守るために。
So he didn't kill him. We're not even gonna get an angle where she goes crazy and kills him or
あ
something.
の時、本当に久世刑事が殺したんだと思ったよ。
So why did Suzuki lose his shit? Because of the fire? It disfigured him and his girl died or something?
兄さん。
純子。
どこかに隠れて兄さん。いいから隠れるの、今すぐ。
All the Tachibanas or whatever, motors or whatever are
佐
gonna
々
be
木くんのことだけど、
are gonna be depressed.
佐々木くんは 結局自殺だったんだね。あの夜、ゆかりこ村から警察署に戻る途中の久世刑事は脇道に入っていく自転車を目撃した。その時間と場所から不審に思いながらもそのまま通過した久世刑事だったが、
Did she frame this on the masked man just so they could reopen the case so she could get this guy? Like legally?
妙な胸騒ぎを覚え、帰宅後にバイクで自転車を目撃した場所へと向かった。バイクを止め、脇道を進んだ先にはポンプ場があった。そこで久世刑事はポンプ場の鉄格子にネクタイを引っ掛け、座るような形で首を吊っている佐々木英介を発見した。佐々木英介はすでに息絶えていたが、久世刑事は直ちに蘇生処置を試みた。しかし佐々木英介が息を吹き返すことはなかった。そして署に連絡しようとした久世刑事がカバンから携帯電話を取り出そうとしたとき、久世刑事の手があるものに触れた。
She just kept that hidden in her pocket, in her dress pocket when she was a kid.
それを見たとき、
Pretty big
ある考えが頭
thing
に
to
浮
hide.
かんだ久世刑事は、あろうことかそれを実行に移してしまったんだ。横たわる佐々木英介に紙袋をかぶせ、その場を立ち去った久世刑事は、
もしもし、人が死んでるみたいなんです。はい、場所は山のバス停近くのポンプ場です。
翌朝、第一発見者を装い、匿名で警察に通報した。久世刑事は18年前の事件の再発を想起させる偽装を佐々木君に施し、彼女自身がその捜査に加わることが誠さん発見につながると考えたようだ。その事件の報道が必ず生きていると信じた誠さんへの何らかのサインになる。
Wait, what? What, you did all this for what? Because Ace Case said he would be linked to the case from 18 years ago. She believed her professional investigation could lead to locating her brother. Got a lot of coverage. Okay. Yeah, I get that, like, maybe it would think she'd be able to reopen the case and then, like, figure out what's going on with the police resources and coverage, but, like, that her brother would just, like, come back when it got noticed? I mean, look, if he wanted to come back, he could just come back. She's literally living in the same place. His grandmother's literally 5 feet away, right? Like, clearly something else is going on. But, I mean, it's clearly something else going on. Why didn't she say anything as a kid, man?
鈴木や誠さんの知るところとなって、エミオが現れるようになったことを考えると、久世刑事の狙い通りにはなったな。だけど、今、彼女は自分のしてしまったことを。
The smiling man showed up. Just cause, I guess. So why did the smiling man happen to show up at the moment Megumi ran into the woods? To, like, do the spell. Golly gee, ain't that a fucking coinkydink? Is that even real? He didn't even do the killing, but he just happened to show up at that place, in the 5-minute period, she just fucking happened to be at the pumping station where the guy died. He was just curious what happened, so he just went to the site of the killing first. Like 3, 4, 5, 6 days after it fucking happened. Or at the suicide, I guess. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't even know that he was there. It's just because he just randomly showed up there. At like a fucking small period of time to just be there. Hanging would really show up differently from a strangling. Well, they said that he died being strangled by some kind of cord, and they just, I guess, assumed it was homicide because of the bag. Yeah, I mean, not the best police work, but maybe 90s forensics. Bros, just let him cook. In the ending part 2, the epilogue's gonna happen. They're cooking, man. They're cooking. I mean, the idea of faking a suicide or serial killing to like draw a certain kind of attention or draw out another serial killer, yeah, that could be cute. But I don't know. I don't know about this execution. All of the convenient phone stuff and people just at the right place at the right time and just not saying certain things just cause, like when she's a kid. Brother just, you know, just the right amount of amnesia, of course, and crazy. We'll see. I'm guessing that he was being taken care of by Suzuku, who was not that bad of a guy, technically. Or he decided to regret his words and deeds, and he changed and he raised this guy after he did the 3 killings. I mean, I guess his family was wrong about him. He definitely killed those people, or is it going to be somebody else? Give me a surprise. He's dead now. I assume there was the fire, or he got mangled in a fight or something. But who beat the shit out of him? Maybe a different masked man? She's gonna be extra down, man. Bye bye.
福山先輩はその言葉を佐々木英介をよく知り、彼の葛藤を理解していた親友の滝口浩平君は、あいつらしいや、そう言って泣き崩れたそうだ。森本めぐみさんも泣いた。涙が枯れるほどに。でも佐々木くんの最後の優しさから前を向いて、思春期の子供たちの心を大人が理解するのは難しい。
Yeah, I was saying this earlier, like, is this like supposed to be a theme where adults don't notice that kids are having a rough time?
そのあまりにもか弱く、寄り添い守ること。
Alright.
その教訓を得
What's
た
the part 2?
きっといい先生に。
Are they gonna explain the murders?
あ、先生。
From 18 years ago? Was it just Itsuki? There's gonna be a surprise.
おかえりなさい。
君たちの活躍はカマさんから聞いたよ。
his exploits. Jesus, they barely did anything. I mean, really. Just him running around with the sketches that she already made of her brother was pretty much all this led to. And the only reason he even investigated this guy was because Kamada asked them specifically to do it halfway into the story. And the only reason he got up into that forest is because he happened to find a fucking construction worker and a driver who just happened to find this and know this guy from a while ago. None of what they did built to that moment. Kamada asked them to do this. I mean, technically Kamada wouldn't ask them, I guess, if they weren't doing shit. Kamada asked them to do this, and running around finding sketches, showing off the sketches, what led him to the forest. And then he just was at the right place at the right time. There's no fucking detective work involved. He's just lucky he got there when the fucking she was there, man. Like, what the fuck? Literally, and he did nothing to get to this point. It was just separate detective work. Yeah, we have the full story, which is maybe useful, and they might respect that, but... I mean, they didn't bag the perp for anything other than sheer fucking luck, man. And honestly, he didn't even need to be there. John didn't even need to be there. The partner is the one who came in and saved the day. I mean, maybe they wouldn't still be there if he wasn't there wasting their time. I mean, Jesus, dude. I mean, John being there just made it so that Makoto got shot, and they stayed around long enough to make sure that Makoto would reveal himself again while she was talking. They would have slipped away. Yeah. And I mean, I feel like Kamiara might have still found out what happened though, because he was following her. Yeah, I mean, maybe they would have slipped away. But the funny thing is like, I mean, that's what I mean. I was like, yeah, it just all kind of worked out to be perfect. But like, at the end of the day, John was only there as essentially like an accidental time waster, a roadblock. She was going to kill John so that he couldn't go back and report that she killed that guy, when in reality it was that she wanted to kill him so that Makoto wouldn't be found out to be the murderer. She was just going to hide it, probably. And she cared so much about her brother, she wanted to make sure above all that he would be protected since he just killed someone. So it's like, I get why she might want to kill him. And I mean, obviously she didn't kill anybody there, so she didn't have the spine to do it, because her brother's the one that killed the crazy guy, but like, Jesus. Do you think we're gonna talk to the Motors people? Do you think they're like distraught that their pseudo-son turned into a mangled possible serial killer? That our guy didn't get to talk to them beforehand and he's been found dead and a murderer in the mountains? Who? They had that big emotional arc. That was one of the more tense moments in the game. That was fucking... Is there a round 2 to this? Twist number 2?
もちろんです。
ちょっと待ってください。
さあ行こうか。
Fuck, is this NTR again?
はーい。
ひどいな。はい。上原刑事？みんなったらいつもひどいんですよ。僕だけ置いてっちゃって。
あら、誰かと電話。
上原刑事だよ。
ほら、ちゃんと前を向いて歩かないとは。
しばらくして 久世刑事から一通の手紙。
宇津木探偵事務所の皆さん、いろいろとご迷惑をおかけしましたことを私の行いは許されることではありません。私は警察官の職を辞し、兄を支えなが
Are you
ら
going to jail
共に今後の人生を歩むことになりました。
for framing a serial killing, getting in the way of the police, and being a fucking accessory to murder, and threatening to kill this guy? Or are you just gonna have sex with your brother all day? What the hell's going on here, dude? I mean, I hope he made a recovery. He had it rough, but
無事戻りましたが、怪我の後遺症で今は歩くことができません。
okay. Forging evidence.
兄は一人で生きていくために歩けるようになるのだと、そんな兄に寄り添い、その思いを胸に皆様のご活躍を、私たち家族上原純子。
Junko Kamihara. So did she marry him?
ナスのなこと
Or is this Junko and Kamihara together?
真実、そして希望。
Wow, eggplant flowers,
久世
yeah.
兄弟はようやく
That's
それ
great.
らすべて取り戻したんだろう。
So, she took his name, right? She was Junko Kuze. Or was it supposed to be just all of them separately? That was it? Whew. Alright. The epilogue, right? Where we get to find out more about what happened 18 years ago. All this exposition and they don't even exposit the fucking 18 years ago thing? The only killings in this thing? So what was controversial about this ending? Was that there was no murder in the whole game? I mean, who cares about that? This is boring, man. Not that you have to have a murder, I guess, but... Could be Hotel Dusk. I don't think there's murder in that. Is there an epilogue? I think they want you to assume things and kind of figure some of that out. I'm guessing he just... Because he stopped killing then too, so maybe he just felt bad. And he just kind of raised the guy. But I mean, as soon as the guy got his memories back, he killed him quick, man. So I mean, was he a good guy and he lived his life with them? What about everything the lore that the guy was going to tell us 30 years ago? Is that, I mean, is there more? Did they run out of money? When they just joked about it, like, oh, let's go eat first. Maybe there's more. Is this the surprise? Is that there's more after the credit? Yeah, I mean, that's my thought. Am I coping, man? I mean, they just dropped all those plots. Well, what was the deal 30 years ago? There is a video after the credits. Just a video, though. I mean, I get that the old urban legend was probably more of a positive thing. Izuki was probably from the village. And he had trouble in school, maybe. I don't know if he killed someone because he was in juvie for a bit. So maybe he did something. Maybe he's got some screws loose. He's a nice guy. But he kills people because he thinks they're sad and he wants to make them happy. blah blah blah, so that, you know, the Tachibana people or whatever, the Motors people think he's a nice dude. He lives with them for a bit because he's a lost guy and he's kind of weird. And then he, like, maybe he tries to kill that girl, like, or maybe he kills the father and gets disfigured, or maybe she kills her father. He, like, does he kill the father, put him in the fucking house, burn him, somehow get disfigured? I don't know how he knows her. I guess they were his sister, because he had a sister he wanted to take on a fucking car ride, right? So maybe, like, I don't know, man. Honestly, for 2024, yes, it is worse. But I mean, just comparing them side by side, I'd still say this is probably better, but it's close, man. Like, it's close, dude. I don't I'm gonna have to look. The second one's way better for sure. Because at least it had, like, a hardcore awesome ending. Like, 2 is so much better than the first one, and then, like, actually has a pretty clean ending. Like, what the fuck was that, dude? They could have built... I mean, they built up all this stuff, and like I said yesterday, they build up all this shit, and it's always going to depend on the ending when it's, like, a questionable build-up, but, like, there is a lot of it, and then they just... What are people talking about? The ending sucked. What? It was just lame. I mean, honestly, the whole thing was just kind of lame, the whole fucking VN, but it had great presentation and music, yeah, and a couple, like, atmospheric bits, but I mean, if they want you to, like, infer a lot of what happened, I mean, okay, but to me, like, so much of this is just kind of a wet fucking fart, man. I mean, the people you figure... I mean, the fucking killer was just a guy you never even fucking saw. Literally the guy they just assumed was the killer. And she was obviously suspicious from go. And she was suspicious. And her brother literally just disappeared. And then he was just there. It was just fucking exactly... Yeah, this is it. Do you want me to do something? I mean, I hope they reveal that Sugi's the killer and we have another 3 hours here.
今回の事件のことだが、まだ多くの謎が残されたままに、その一つ一つをつまびらかにしていくことが、それには都築実という男の書、かなり凄惨で重い話だから、君の心の準備、気持ちが決まったら電話をかけて。
Oh, do we get in there and call him? And load? Is there more? Minoru. Oh, okay. Call Itsugi. Is this the rest of the game? Yeah, I'm definitely ready.
わかった。じゃあ、イルモ村での調査で、エミオの起源についてはほぼわかった。また、都築実が潜んでいた廃屋で、彼が残した走り書きが見つかったんだ。しかし、そこに書かれている彼の真意を我々が理解し、正しく汲み取ることは、まずは僕が聞き込みで得たことを、
宇津木探偵事務所。
ずいぶん古い話で恐縮なのですが、お話を伺えればと思いお邪魔しました。
ほうかほうか。それで何が聞きたいんじゃ？
この村で都築さんというご家族が暮らしていた
This was the one guy he found in this town that still remembered anything about the smiling man he talked about earlier.
鈴木んちか。あげんなことにな。もともとはごく。ところがじゃ、ある日、鈴木んちの母ちゃんが家出しちまっての。
Okay.
酔っ払っちゃ暴れるもんじゃけ。なんで母ちゃんが出てったのかは知らん。じゃが、そのとばっちりで辛い目によ。
子供たち。都築実さんにはご兄弟がいらっしゃる。
実には恵美子っちゅう妹がおってな。
Yeah, this is where it's all saved, dude.
7つ違いくらい。
I'm gonna regret my words and deeds.
恵美子さんですか。
お、そうじゃ恵美子じゃ。かわいらしい子じゃったの。
This is me regretting my words and deeds.
年が離れとったからか、実は妹の恵美子をそらかわいがりよったわ。
恵美子を泣かすな、このバカ親父。
なんとこの野郎。
Is this the controversial bit?
もう一回言うためや。小さい恵美子をかばって。
Oh, did he get brain
母ちゃ
damage?
んがおった頃の恵美子はそら明るうて元気やっての。男の子みたいやったけ。村のもんからは
エミオちゃん。
やのにお母ちゃんが出てってからはわしらもミノルは中のあないに元気でおてんばな娘やったの。いつでもミノルにぴったりくっついて、兄ちゃんだけが頼りやと思うとったんやろうの。
Maybe he raised the brother because he saw himself in him. And he saw that he was the guy that made people sad like his dad. Is that what we're going for? I don't care. A little more threads cleared on this guy is not going to change a whole lot. At least that it would not be as bad because it's just left half of the fucking thing unexplained, but like it doesn't really change the events and the wet noodle that is like most of the story. But we'll see. Let's just ride it out.
数が少のうて自分だけを頼りに自分勝手夫婦の間にはじゃがそのせミノルとそれがそうある日恵美子の笑い声が聞こえミノルがなんやおかしな紙袋をかぶってふざけよったん
A
じゃわ。
paper bag.
紙袋を。
笑うとる恵美子を見たのはほんに久しぶりじゃった。
I assume the sister dies. I don't know if he does it, the father does it. I mean, I guess she could just still be around. Maybe that's something to do with the 18 years ago murder.
ミノルが書いたんじゃろうの。せやから それをかぶっとるミノルは、そらもう恵美子はキャッキャ言うて笑ってんの。次ん日には二人ともあん袋が遊ぶもんなんか買っても
It
らえん
became a
兄
media
弟の
thing
遊び
when
道
they
具だった
revealed
んじゃのう。
the kid who committed suicide had a bag on his head. They didn't even mention a smile, but 18 years ago, even though they didn't release the info, I guess somehow the info got out and it became an urban legend. I don't know, it's a little contrived as well.
恵美子があんなに笑それが
鈴木さんご一家に
We couldn't do anything, not even call the police and show them the wounds on their kids. Take them in, it's like a little small town. We just let them kill them. Oh well. I think about it every day.
すまんが兄ちゃん。それは
Yeah, I regret it, he says, from the comfort of fucking 20 years later plus. He's gonna have an hour of discomfort here, or feigned discomfort, and he goes right back to grilling fucking fish on the fucking Barbie, man. Like, suck my shit, dude. You just took that shit, I guess.
わしゃ思い出すのが。
わかりました。
Too painful.
辛いことをお聞きして。
おう。わしのことを
Wow,
気
it's
にしてくれるんか。
it's so terrible, I can't even tell someone about it so we can have some kind of justice or to let the story go on, you know. It's just so bad. Oh, I wish I could do something. But nothing too uncomforting. You know, that would be like talk about it 30 years later. That would be oof. This is too much. A fucking pussy, man.
あの兄弟二人で一つ。
恵美子さんは亡くなった。
He could have summarized.
ため池で溺れて。
Yeah, the funny thing is, like, he calls them, says he has it all figured out, and then he says, hey, I'll explain it when I get back, lol, even though he's got a phone. Like, they didn't even know 100% that this guy was the killer. They just assume so because this guy calls them and just says, I guess they wear masks back then. And they're like, well, I guess he must be the killer then, possibly. And then, like, your character doesn't even know for sure, even because he fucking incriminates Kuze a little bit. It was a really contrived scene I bitched about for a while. And then it's like, I'm wondering why he didn't just explain this whole thing to them on the phone. It's because they wanted to have this big, like, Itsugi chunk at the end and to, like, hold information back from the player, but it doesn't make sense in world. He didn't have combos on the phone. That's me nowadays. Back then, I'd probably have more of a combo. It's a joke. Don't you get it? Lyle. It was a joke. And we poured like more budget than like 99% of VNs out there into it. Also as a joke. Just to make you feel bad. He's drowned in the pond. Did her dad do it? I thought only the one guy... Didn't they say only the one guy knew about what happened? I guess he found another person. Maybe it was a guy and a woman. He didn't mention the woman here.
空もう大きい鳴き声が聞こえてきたもんだから。慌てて行ってみたら
God, there's just nothing we could do. We felt so bad.
もう言葉も出ない。突然駆け出したみのるちゃんが、あん時の私は何も気づけんかったん
Yeah, you
で
guys
す。
were real fucking useful, man.
みのるちゃんとえみこちゃん、それを親父さんに見つかって
Dumped
荷
their
物
shit in the
を池
pond.
に捨てられ、
And
え
she
みこちゃん
jumped
が
in
池に入っ
after.
て拾おうと。そんで
Okay.
親父さんを
Good. Somebody finally fucking does something.
親父さんの顔はもう
Christ, man, it had to get to that point that his own kid had to fucking murder him. But the harvest was that day, and the corn was looking real good. We couldn't just not shuck it right then and there. I mean, we had stuff to do. This written by fucking Ryukishi, man.
どんだけ辛かったことか。妹を亡くして自分の手で。えみこちゃんの
So what was controversial? I mean, I'm not saying that's not an intense situation, but family does horrible thing and it breaks the kids is actually pretty fucking common plot beat, man. I'm not saying it's not something that shouldn't be emotional or, you know, raw, but controversial is usually something like rising that's spicy compared to, like, you know, your average thing. It's gonna get people talking and being like, whoa, what the hell's wrong with this? That kind of shit.
兄ちゃんがもん持ってきてくれたぞ。
Yeah, that's also maybe the Kuze brother. I don't know. Poor dude, but okay, so then he just, anytime somebody's crying and it's a young girl like his sister, he just kills them. 'Cause he's a nice guy, seemingly broken nice guy. And that's why the motors people thought he was fine. I'm guessing he fucked up his first kills while he got disfigured? So did he work with the motors people until his first kill? It would have to have been, yeah.
あん時のことは村でけんど、この村もそのことを知る人、大好きやった紙袋。
Wow, that was deep, lady.
あん時
Anyway, go enjoy your cookies and fucking tea.
いきなり走り出したみのるちゃんを私はなんで止めんかったんやろ。あの子が何を考えとったん。今でも
Probably because she did notice
ミノルちゃん。
She turned a blind
そ
eye.
の後少年院に入ったんですわ。私もあの後村を出てもうたんで。
Small town. Can't
私から
upset
話せるこ
anything.
とは、
お話しいただきまして。
村を出てずいぶん経ったあの兄弟のことは。
She thinks about them sometimes. Like right now. 20 years after it happened the first time. That's the sometime.
ミノルちゃん、私がミノルちゃんの気持ちに気づいてやれ。
あくまでも私の考え、あなたは決してご自身を責めるべきではないと思います。
I mean, not as much as the father, but yeah, I mean, you could blame them a good bit. But, you know, I guess it's all said and done. Might as well make her feel good. Net positive in the world. Not like it could happen again.
そうなんやろかね。知っとることは。
貴重なお話をありがとうございました。
辛いことを思い出してしまいました。
Yeah. Don't worry, there are regrets. The next exact case like this in the small town, shit'll be.
それは大変申し
Because
訳あ
one
りませんで
horrible
した。
thing has to happen before one good thing can happen.
けんど、あんたに聞いてもらったことで。
これが都市伝説鈴木兄弟の悲劇は、村の後に村を離れていった人たちが拡散、それを決定的にしてしまったのが鈴木みのる本人だった
Yeah,
と
like
いうのは
Rikishi, penned
なん
by
とも皮
Rikishi
肉
at the
な
end
話だ
here.
ね。
There's the bullying.
鈴木兄弟の事件は近隣の方々にも暗い影を落としていたよ。
What's Dancer 7? You mean Chapter 7 or whatever? Oh. I should have had that play when he was beating his ass.
彼らのために自分が続きの強行を止められたので、もちろんその方たちが重く受け止めるべき言葉だったよ。
Okay, Itsugi. What did you do, Itsugi? What does he ever do? I mean, really. Maybe he should have, instead of being off in some podunk village, actually been here to, like, stop that guy from being, like, killed. I mean, I guess he was a murderer, so, like, fuck him, I guess, but... I mean, NTR to Emio for our guy here, John. This is the worst detective agency, man. I mean, it's cool he got the full... I mean, really all they did in this, the entire team, is just get the backstory. The exposition. They explain all what's going on, but they didn't do anything at all except be completely contrived pieces of luck in the right place at the right time to stop the murder. Or not the murder, to catch the guy. And hell, the dude wouldn't even have probably fucking croaked. Maybe he would. I mean, yeah, I mean, he needed his justice and all that, but it's like, good God, man. Who's to say that they wouldn't just find them out in the woods anyways at some point? But I mean, I guess it's been a while.
そして続きが入院していた
鈴木みのる。
That's where they're gonna explain the 18 years ago
覚えてます。
case.
素直
So,
で手のかからない起こした事件が事件ですから、精神的口数が少ないどころか正直なところ何せ変わった子で一人でいることが多かった。ああ、そういえば何を言ってたのか。続きは自動車が好きだったようなので、退院してからも何か資格を元来真面目で物覚えがいい。試験には見事一発で合格したんですよ。
the menuing, yeah, it's really immersive stuff.
ほう。
そうなんですよ。頭いいんだなって思う。合格したのがよほど嬉しかったんでしょうね。ただ話していた内容がちょっと。続きはこう、いつかは自分も車を妹が行きたいところへそう言ってたんです。はっきりそう。はっきりそう。その反応を見る限り。
ええ。私が知る限り。
そうなんですよ。当時の資料でも続きの妹は
It's almost like he's crazy.
やっぱり続きの
Well, I'm
妹さ
sure
ん
the
は
juvie,
いい子さんだ。
you know,
間違いないですね。
wasn't their fault. I mean, I'm sure they. What could they do? I mean, they couldn't really rehabilitate him or anything. They just kind of left him in the corner, taught him how to fucking drive a car.
他に妹がいたなんて情報を
Whatever,
我
man.
々が知らないなんてありえないです。
Because it would look good if he left with the fucking car mechanic license, he said, right? Society, yeah. Society.
そうでしょう。
A lot of things failed this kid.
妹が行きたいと
I've
こ
been
ろへ
resisting the
ど
gym.
こへでも連れて行ってやるんだってこの子の頭のなかったことになっ。
Okay, so he just sees his sister everywhere.
続きは一度イルモ村に
Why
戻っ
does
た
he
んだ。
need to kill them to put the bag on the head? Society. He lives in it.
村の人に温かく受け入れてもらった続きは農作業の手伝いなど問題を起こすようなことはなかったが、村の人たちは思っていたようだね。少年院での
So he
生活
came
と
back
同じ
to the village.
村でもとにかく話さない。いつも何か考えている様子で、一人事情を知る村の人々は世代交代が進み、村の雰囲気が、その後彼は短期労働の仕事をし
They
ながら
ostracized him,
いろんな
okay.
土地を。そして君も知っているように、ミノルは轟モータースのお世話になるわけだ。ところで君は
So what did Todoroki and the crew think after they found out about his
決め
death?
た理由がわかるかい？
It was cars.
君もそう思ったか。
Okay. It was both then.
車、車、車という轟の漢字がよほどの車好きだったんだろうね。
Didn't I just say that? The car
そ
part?
ういえば、廃屋から轟モータース
Actually, it
の
wasn't that he
作業部
wanted
分が
to
されたよう
do
だ。
anything with cars. It's that he wanted a car. Thanks for the detective work, buddy. Very fucking nuanced difference there.
きれいに洗濯されていて、丁寧に折りたたんでしまわれていた。
Yeah, I guess he was particularly obsessed about driving the car more than working on the car. I guess was the idea. Mechanics don't care about driving cars either. They just work on them.
そうだよ。続きにとって、轟モーターズ。続きはこのメモで妹。つまり彼は少年院でも妹を、おそらく続き実は妹を亡くした日か
So
ら
did he just look for
独
chicks
自
that
の思
looked
考
like
で
his
疑う
sister?
ことなくそれに従って行動する。その結果、様々な彼には同情すべきと。事情はどうあれ、僕に彼をかばい立てする気持ちは、今から僕が話すことは、鈴木みのるの走り書きや久世誠さんの証言。
Minoru left notes behind. That's good. It's convenient. Makoto remembers all this.
そして、様々な
Guess he
取
just
材
told
によ
him?
って知り得た情報から推察した話。残念なことに、これら
You
のほとんど
trusted
は
sources.
事実だと思う。もちろん、鈴木みのる自身が実際に考えたことは分かったとしても、おそらく我々には理解できないことが多い。
So you're telling me this guy figured out all of this? Our guys, our detectives had no point doing anything. He just knew all of this. I mean, I guess the only thing our detectives were doing was finding where he was at the moment, and then finding out what happened with the current killing, which I guess this guy didn't know. But he knew enough to assume he should chase down this guy's home to its inception and follow it through over the course of a couple of weeks. He knew that much. But the important part that could stop more killings, he was just like, you guys figure that out. And then they didn't. But then it solved itself anyways. Jesus Christ. Why couldn't he just give him on the phone? Like, hey, yeah, it's definitely him. For sure. Also, he's probably in the woods because I already know everything. Maybe you should go. Nope, he just found a random construction worker and showed him the fucking sketch. The sketch that he didn't even... Like, he just got for some other reason. And then another random guy just happened to be there. And then that led them to go to the forest and then just happened to stall everything long enough for Kamihara to come in and shoot her brother. Whatever, dude.
彼の人生を君に伝えたいと。
Yeah, I mean, construction crew, especially this time period where they...
彼もまた犠牲者の一人だったと考
And
え
they
る
don't
こと
even
も
show our guy, and it still feels like an entire story that wrapped itself up there. But how important that was. They're like, you know what? Let's just make, as a joke, 90% of the story shit, so that we could have a huge-ass OVA at the end. To have the biggest, most insane exposition dump you've ever seen, essentially. It's a joke. It'd be funny. Don't put any of that in there. Don't reinterpret that anyway during the investigation. Just boom, just pointless bullshit, and then everything important in the OVA.
言うまでもなく、人をただ、あの時自分が
Okay, thanks for the platitudes,
ど
bro.
こかで都市伝説。鈴木みのるの悲劇的な人生に触れて、僕はこう思ったよ。この走り書きの最後の一文こそ。
Yeah, the animation was cool. I mean, the investigation was bad. I would say this is worse than the second, but it had budget. That's cute.
彼の心の君は
I don't think shit. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna tell you what I think when we do the tier list in a few minutes. Yeah, he had a rough life. Maybe if that was like given to you in a more interesting way, with more like cap-offs emotionally, and they had better thriller like and mystery shit, it would be, you know, very emotional. But instead you get a very, very disappointing like 13 hours followed by the most that pretty much invalidates the entire game before that, where your fucking character is essentially just conveniently stumbles upon everything and then even doesn't even really matter. And then all the questions you actually do have are just in a fucking OVA in a separate menu afterwards. I think everybody just sees this OVA, they get emotional, and they literally forget about the fucking rest of the game, dude. Oh, Jesus Christ. This happens with so much shit, especially mysteries. You just forget the fucking, like, you just memory hole the entire fucking experience because there's like some kind of well-produced fucking end or something. Yeah. And I don't even think it's that good emotionally because, like, it's still just a small OVA. Like I get it, but it's like how it all gets there, like how your characters have anything to do with it, and the build up and the tension of the mystery. It's like, yeah, it's like I feel for the guy, you know. I get it. I think in that sense, like, you know, his kind of fall into, like, you know, being a serial killer, like, yeah, you know, it's, they try to make sense of it. I mean, there's still a lot of contrived bullshit in there, but it's like, you know, if they're just trying to tell some kind of drama, like, all right, but like this is supposed to be like some kind of like mystery, like root around and figure out. It's like 90% of this game is like based on like extremely convenient contrived events that have almost no actual like link. I mean, that happens sometimes. I mean, a lot of crimes are of convenience and just chance, but Jesus, dude. This isn't real life. It's a fucking VN. Not to mention just the fucking incredibly slow pace for no reason. For almost all of it to be pointless. Everything of value was shown here. They like slightly explain a little bit about why the guy commits suicide in the modern day. And they explain a little bit more of like why she cares so much about her brother, which is obviously just, it's there in the OVA anyways, but honestly, the teacher gets more story in an arc. He gets more proper closure in the actual VN. It was just like, what? Like, there's a few good emotional moments, like with their, you know, surrogate parents there essentially, but I mean, Jesus, dude. Does John even get the girl at the end? Ice Skate, they found out he just killed himself. And that she actually put the mask on him. She just happened to be there. And then decided to go back because she'd been holding onto that guy's mask her whole life. To go back and put the mask on him to get the police to reopen the cases, to bait to hopefully find some way to get to the actual Smiling Man, which she gets by the Smiling Man randomly showing up at that spot 7 days later for 5 minutes, and then he's found, and then she knows, and then the guy gives her his fucking address, and she just shows up there, and that's the end of it. Kuze masked the kid, yeah. He just killed himself because his grades were bad. Yeah, she just happened to show up on her motorcycle. So, I mean, the idea of, like, creating a fake connected crime scene to try to use police resources and shit to, like, maybe bait out the real criminal would work, but it's so damn contrived. It's so convenient that he just shows up whenever, that he cares even about, like, giving her his address for some reason and all this. Like, it's just, it's so lame. And our guy just shows up after just showing a sketch to somebody on the fucking street, a construction worker that just happens to lead him to the forest to the exact moment that she confronts him days later after she gets the address, because I guess she just felt like she needed a break. And he doesn't do anything except delay it long enough so that her brother tries to kill him, John, and then the co-op comes in and shoots him. But he misses, so he just wounds his legs, I guess, or something. Like the Kamihara cop. Like, that's the end of the game. Literally nothing you did had any impact. You just happened to be there long enough to just accidentally stall Kuze from getting out of the abandoned village with her brother after her brother killed Isuzo or whatever. Then they just hard end it before this part. Yeah, great. To the Smiling Man. Is that just the base game? Cute screen. This is a little too uppity. Anyways, what'd you guys think, man? Over here. I mean, the game has production value. Absolutely. I mean, the OVA is clean. It was long. It was pretty impressive there. The actual art throughout the whole thing is really nice. It's very expressive. It gets a lot across because of that. Keeps it spicy despite, honestly, the pace of the game being anything but. And Avo soundtrack is pretty great. I wouldn't mind having that. But really, past that, I mean, for me, yeah, this is building some cool stuff. It's slow, not doing much, but that's inexcusable. Maybe, yeah, it's like, so you're going through and like, you're maybe a little bored after like 10, 11 hours. You're like, okay, you know, this feels a little meandering. We're like 18 years, one missing person, maybe has nothing to do with the killing, but this is our focus for like 4 hours. We're like very far removed from any event having to do with the murder. No really spicy events even happen, except maybe the Megumi thing and then the fake murder and all that. Sakamoto Bros, what happened? Are you gonna watch the VOD? I'm about to spoil everything, obviously. But yeah, right, you might want to watch out because I'm in review mode. I don't like it. that's the spoiler. Yeah, so it's like you go through this very long process of a seemingly kind of professional detective thing where it's like they go to the library and they learn little things and they don't get a whole lot of info, but they slowly kind of find related events and try to work their way to what's going on. It builds up to a couple suspects, you know. Not very super exciting, but you know, they're building it up. Maybe they want it to feel like more procedural or something. And it's just for nothing at the end, man. I mean, it's over like an hour after the point. I'm like, oh, here it's gonna maybe start getting going. There's a couple drama bits like this. like the motors people, that's okay. Like they have like all these subplots with like the teacher and like the pseudo cucking and all that, and it's just like I don't. It doesn't really do a whole lot for me. But I mean, it's not uninteresting. It just feels like a mystery that's more focused on the build than the thrills. I think you could have both. I think these writers have even done it before with like CC, but you know, whatever. So it just ends up feeling very just kind of meandering to a certain point. Very detached, very few like events actually happening. And if it was more, there's more player agency, more input, like if it was difficult, I had to pick where to go, use more items, apply myself logically, be quizzed on things that actually solve stuff, like in most mystery games, not on my reading comprehension and just how good I am at regurgitating information, then maybe that really slow kind of meandering story is like, oh, you know, it's fine. I was with it. I was fine. I was like, okay, you know, it's they're doing something here. They're cooking, right? The old ones are in the 80s, late 80s, and you know, they probably just, you know, they couldn't write something really long. It was really unique for the time, right? So it's going to be a little bit more crude, and they work with that. And it's like, okay, now it's like we're getting a full VN production crew. They can make it as long as they want within budget. So they're going to cook for longer, and they just don't. The ending of the actual base game is such a wet fart. Nothing they did matters, essentially, and the only reason our guy even existed to be there was just to be essentially just an annoying fly in her ear to distract her long enough for somebody else to show up and shoot someone. And it didn't even probably need, who knows, it didn't even need to happen, possibly. I mean, that detective guy was going to be there regardless. He did not end up there because of John. I mean, who knows? Maybe they were just going to cry there long enough he would just show up. I mean, like, so it's like everything you did for that 12 hours. And I think in mysteries, how it ends is very important to justify the rest of it. Sometimes it's the journey. In this case, even if you said, it's all about the journey is pretty fucking whatever, man. It's not a very interesting thriller. It's not asking a lot of like questions. I mean, you're wondering, it could be all sorts of people, and they bait you into thinking it's all sorts of people with red herrings and stuff. But it's one of those where it just ends exactly as you'd expect. Oh, it's just the guy I've never seen before that they said was probably the killer. That was just a mysterious guy we never named for half of the game, right? It's essentially a guy they just introduced halfway into the game, but you never actually saw him until the end. It's like the worst of both worlds. And then who's the other semi-culprit? The lady who looked the most suspicious on fucking start, right? So you're just like, and she didn't even do anything. She just like faked the serial killing. The guy just killed himself, right? So it's such a wet fart of a fucking conclusion on top of like invalidating like even all of your investigation, right? Shit, they don't even wrap up the fucking romance, man. Like, Jesus. I mean, maybe in another game. I don't know. But really, it's just like, and kind of like Godo said, I mean, this one doesn't even have the decency to be like a 6-hour long game like in the first one. In the first one, you have to at least guess where to go to. It's not a very interesting mystery, but at least it gets a little credit for coming out in 1988. This just came out, man. Like, fucking Christ almighty, man. Like, I'm not saying it needs, every mystery that comes out needs to be just like 1,000 times better than everything that came before it, but I mean, did they not just like see how pointless most of the mystery of this was, or how kind of just whatever the excitement level of it was, to just, and then just said, that's fine, we have a 20-minute OVA at the end that's kind of emotional. It's like, I'll go watch a fucking movie. I'll go watch a fucking actual OVA. It's like, like the gameplay sucks. It's like a flow chart. You just fucking go through all the talking points, and then when you can't do that anymore, which usually you have to repress all of them way too many times because there's no really obvious time they're done. They might like fart and like shrug, and that's the actual line of dialogue, and you're supposed to like continue off of that, but to me it just sounds like they're done. But no, you have to keep going, and then when that's done, you go to think, and then when that's done, you click them if you still can't continue on after going back and checking the dialogue, and it's like, that's not interesting. You're not thinking about what he said and what I should say to get information out of him, or just to respond. And if it's just to want to respond in a character way, just have him do it. If they're gonna just talk, I don't need to keep re-hitting the button, because all it ends up being in this is essentially a linear VN, no fail states, no reason to apply yourself because they just tell you it's the other answer. And out in the field, there's nowhere you have to choose to go. Essentially, it's just always pretty much auto. And then in the conversations, it's just completely flowchart. Like, just make it linear at this point. It'll just help the pacing. Or make it an actual adventure game. Almost like the originals were. They were much, honestly, because you had to decide where to go a lot of the time. It was probably better as an adventure game. No, I mean, they're worse in a lot of other ways, but it's like, I mean, pick one, man. And then it's like, well, what if they did all that gameplay and it was really interesting? Well, then the fucking story would have just invalidated all that fucking gameplay. And it's like, then you could say, well, the journey of figuring out that was cool because you had the gameplay part. And it's like, maybe then you could say, sure, but I don't know. I feel like Mysteries, the journey is where the matters a lot less, because it's building, it's bubbling, it's going into something. And there's some mysteries that like close things off and discover, good ones that close things and discover things and have exciting stuff going on and subplots that work and shit. But there's some, like I said, like this one where it's just all about the end. And maybe that's just inherently worse, but man, it really fucking kills it. Yeah, I honestly feel like the romance plot's for the next game. So I don't know, man. I was on board into thinking this was probably going to be at least okay. I think when people said it was like popping off, it's probably not going to be the case because the first two just weren't there. But, you know, I was like, oh, this is way later. This is by a modern VN crew that does pretty good work. I mean, you know, it's Nintendo, so it's not going to be that crazy, but, you know, the old ones had a lot of murders and stuff. Like, maybe it'll be pretty spicy, or at least have proper, like, pacing or something. But no, not really. It really was just kind of a... I don't know. It's really impressive, like, budget and art direction and sound and all that stuff, so, you know. And I wasn't bored with completely with the investigation stuff, but like I said, retroactively, that stuff looks way worse now. It's hard to really give it any cues. Like I said, the journey doesn't matter as much in a mystery, I feel like this. That's very end-loaded, twist, build-up. You know, a mystery like Psyche Mei is fine because there's just shit always happening, right? Like it's not building to like a whodunit, so. But this is a classic whodunit, right? Experimenting? No, they didn't experiment much at all. I think they should have experimented more. The most experimental thing they did was add like text words you had to insert in the quizzes. Otherwise, the experimental thing on the surface seems like where they put an OVA at the end. But to me, it almost feels like a cop-out. Like they couldn't weave that kind of stuff better into the story and have a more interesting like payoff as you discover some of this yourself. And I don't know. The OVA is essentially just a super exposition dump, which, you know, there's a time and a place for exposition dumps, but it's just a fancy exposition dump. It's just glossed up so much. It might look experimental, but it's just, I mean, it just felt like they had to explain the whole story and they had a cute little emotional package to put it in. And I mean, that's fine if the rest of it was at least like serviceable, but I don't know. Also, I mean, I feel for the whole, I mean, you know, the family troubles and the guy lost his shit. I feel there, but I don't know. Maybe I've read too many of these. I've seen it a million times, man. I don't know, man. I feel, I mean, maybe if like I said, the base game, I felt a little bit more about it and I was more invested in this guy. But he's essentially someone you literally never see until he's killed. and then they just give them a little OVA, and it's like it's 20 minutes, right? Like, yeah, I feel for it. I get it. It's sad, and then you see him just kind of lose his shit, and it's like a little bit of it's contrived, but I mean, it's a level that you're willing to just like suspend your disbelief, but it's like, that's it, man. Like, I mean, there's no, I mean, not that you can't have a really emotional thing. I mean, in 20 minutes, I've stuff where I'm really emotionally into it that's 8 minutes long, but there's context in this and a whole game before it, and events that are covered or not covered in it, and it's just like, it'd be a cool accompaniment to the base game if like it was just running on all cylinders, but it kind of just feels like a cop out as it is more that experimental. I think if anything, it feels like it was too attached to tradition at times, like the speech stuff and all that, the conversation shit. I'm not gonna lie, there's a reason VNs don't do it anymore. They moved on from the 88, 89, 2000, or 1990 way of doing it like this. It's not fucking interesting. It could be interesting, but it requires a lot of thought on how you're gonna like structure the game and how the dialogue's gonna work so that you intelligently can apply like, talking and stuff. A lot of Western RPGs do it a lot. Not to always to any great extent, but for like a mystery like this, it needs to be smart to have like dialogue like this, and at the end of the day it just ends up there isn't any thought put into like that. It's just flowchart. It would be better just to not be traditional. But I don't know. It's Famicom Detective Club 3. They want it to be similar. It's not the worst part of the game by any means, but it's hard to look at it with anything but just like kind of disappointment. Bottom of 4. Yeah, I don't know. I'm either bottom of 5 or somewhere in 4. Maybe bottom of 4. And it really is just on a few really strong atmosphere sections, great art and music, and that I suppose I wasn't dying playing the first 12 hours, but yeah, I mean, it's basic, but it is short. I guess this feels more like they've made big mistakes, where Famicom Detective Club 1 is just kind of it's okay, it's just there. It's just a very basic mystery, but I mean, it's 1988. I put it as a 4, so I mean, it's not like I'm giving it that much credit for its age. This one though, it's like, I mean, it's 2024. It takes so much longer for no gain. He's not even figuring anything out that matters. It's just really good presentation, but I mean, so does that one. So yeah, you're probably right. I mean, Deathmark 2 is pretty fucked though, but I mean, I guess they're all 4s. Do I like Police Knots better? I guess. Raging Loot better? 7 is Famicom Detective Club 2. Yeah, sorry. Doesn't have that underneath it. Yeah. Something happened to it, I guess, when I moved. I forgot to type in the rest. Yeah. The end of... So, 7... Famicom Detective Club 2 is much, much smarter and better paced than the first one. But still obviously pretty crude. It came out like in 89 or 90 or something. It has its issues, but it's a pretty nice enough ride with enough like deaths, I guess, to keep you engaged. And then a really solidly put together ending that has really awesome production value and is pretty just fun, just very engaging. And I figured they'd at least pull from that. I mean, Famicom Detective Club 2, it was one where the ending actually does make it like way better. Like it builds to an end that's actually pretty awesome. Otherwise it probably would have been like a 5 or 6 or something, but this one it's like you're essentially getting just a longer, more drawn out, nothing case, kind of like Detective Club 1, but without the ending, and it's twice as long. So, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Raging Loop does have the humor, I guess. I mean, the ride on Raging Loop, because it doesn't hinge that much on the end. Like, the ride is long and it's kind of entertaining. It's just got an atrocious ending. I think this is better than another Code Recollection Part 2, though. Surely. Just on production value alone. I mean, Part 2, Recollection Part 2 is pretty fucking shit. It's funny bad, but like, it's a lot of nonsense and just fucking around. It's barely comprehensible. I mean, this at least is like comprehensible and it looks nice. So. I don't think I'm putting it at the bottom, but I might put it under Raging Loop. Let me find this shit. Man, they really were advertising this shit with that Emio picture. Like it was gonna fucking be this nutty ass, fucking crazy ass looking fucking like almost spooky thriller game with Murder Man. And it just ain't shit. Jesus. Can I get a nice square one? Yeah, I mean, Jesus. I mean, I know that people were expecting it to be like fucking like fucking I think this is too wide. I think people were the people expected it to be like like Slender Man, but with Nintendo or stupid. I mean, I'm not surprised there that it's not that. Dude, I don't want like a literal picture of the case. I just want the fucking art. Are you fucking kidding me, Jimmy Joe? I mean, I could pick this fucker's like low res. I mean, cropped art. I mean, I guess that's fine. Who cares, right? It doesn't need to look great. You can see it there. I would have preferred something like the one we had in game. Where it has like the cool art behind it. But whatever. I don't even know if this is technically the third game. I think it's the fourth, I guess. We'll just call it Emio. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in a way I'm being like too hard on it because the presentation everything's so good, but I'm not gonna lie. I mean, other than just not being like cripplingly boring for like 12 hours, it really was just the presentation. Otherwise it would have just been like even lower. Yeah, for like 12 to 15 hours, it's just like, fuck. This is where length makes a big difference, right? Like this game is paced like shit. And then all that pacing was like for nothing. If you even think about it for like a few seconds. And then the gameplay blows. It's like, I don't know. I think I could also put it at bottom of 5 and I'd be okay with it, but this is fine too, I think. I'm like in the 5-4 range just because of art and because some of these are fucking truly atrocious down here. But mean, I don't know, man. Is K&S better? I mean, this is better than Rain Code for sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's... Yeah, that's kind of where I'm putting it on the VN tier list. What a fucking wet fart of a fucking game, man. That was a shame. I was actually really looking forward to this one. Yeah, the Satellaview one. Satella? Well. No, we're gonna finish Potato Flowers in full anuses or whatever. Which we're pretty close to finishing that too. Then after that, I'm gonna wait on Astrobot. I'm gonna send this back tomorrow for Space Marine. I shipped Astrobot. I put this in the mail before Space Marine. Yeah, eggplant flowers. We didn't even get to see what happened to the motors people at all. That was like this big moment where he's come to us first if you find him. And I mean, I'm fine with challenging feelings. I want that, you know, like, you know what? They thought he was a good guy. They thought nothing was wrong. They were wrong. He was a murderer. He's a freak. Doesn't matter if he was nice. I really wish they would have went in on that theme. It was there a little bit, right? Like, oh, you know. But I mean, it was like, the villagers didn't think something was okay. They just ignored what was going on. So the only time parents or people around these kids were like, everything's okay, was with Ice K, who killed himself. Where his friends kinda knew. Or they barely even knew. Only one friend kinda knew. So it wasn't even just parents, it was just people. Society. And then for this kid, when he was at the Tachi, or when he was with the motors people. And like outside of that, it's like the idea that like people, adults, friends don't see the real you, what's going on, and then let horrible things happen. That theme could be really strong, right? Like, you know what? These people, they give you this like tropey, like, yeah, he's actually a good guy. There's no way he could be a murderer. And then it just ends up that he is. Like, damn, you know? Like, yeah, that could be pretty spicy. But they don't do shit with it. They don't do shit with that theme, even though he throws out these platitudes at the end after he fucking comes all over the fucking desk after being gone for 3 months for no fucking reason, and he couldn't tell them over the phone. He had to show the OVA on the fucking VHS, man. Like, I don't know. It's like they could have done something there. Like tie it in somehow, something stronger, but instead it's like all just in this OVA and it's like just nothing going on. And I don't know. I don't think the emotional stuff works very well. There's a couple nice moments of tension, either through drama or like almost semi-horror. Like tension, like dramatic tension was like with the surrogate parents, where they hated our guy and then all of a sudden they loved him. The actual horror stuff was like, you know, nighttime, Abo, sneaking around shit. Where somebody maybe is sneaking around, they might fuck me up or something. Other than that, though, it's like they don't really nail any like story beats. I mean, the teacher gets this whole big ass thing where he's like, "I'm not a great teacher, buddy. He is a great teacher." It's like one of those people who's like really great at something and they're a really nice person, but they have to sit there and bitch until like you tell them they're nice or some shit, right? It's like this really selfish thing. That's how it felt. It's like the guy is clearly like qualified. He's like some good dude. He has like imposter syndrome or like what? You're just like, it's not an arc. It's not that interesting. He's just very quirky and over the top. Like, we get it. And then they like focus in on the cuck shit, which is not that interesting because it doesn't even go anywhere. If anything, he gets NTR'd harder at the end by the boss. And then like, just so they can bring it into another one, I guess. And maybe in the final Famicom, they'll kiss each other on the cheek, and then the series is over. And then in the next one, because they revived it again 40 years later, they'll be drifted apart so they can kiss each other on the cheek at the end again. But yeah, I don't know. So there's not much that happens there. We don't even get to see the Motors people. We got to see, I guess, the friends realize that he did kill himself. Aisuke did. And so Megumi's just like okay with it, even though it's funny because like it was probably kind of in a way a relief possibly that the urban legend was what killed him. And now actually he did kill himself because of what you said. So like wouldn't it be worse? But then they want to end it on a happy note. Well, she took it on the cheek and she said, okay, I'm going to be strong. That's what Aisuke would want. He killed himself because of what you said. Like, I mean, that's not completely on her. Clearly he had more going on than that. You can't completely blame yourself on that. But that she was just cool after that? Like, please, dude. Like, at least make it a harder ending. Like, you know, like, she would not be cool with that. That would probably haunt you forever. Your best friend for your whole life killed himself after you fucking proposed to the teacher. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, it's not her fault specifically died. I mean, obviously you didn't take your own life, and that's some fucked up shit, but and there's way more going on in his life, but like she would probably take it more rough. But she just didn't, because it's the end of the game and everybody's gotta be all fucking hunky dory. Kuze says, oh, I'm gonna fucking own up to my shit. I did that by quitting and taking care of my brother. That's the only reason she became a cop in the first place. She never even talked about her sense of justice or anything. She was just, her character was a hard ass who cared a lot about her brother. Quitting was probably, that's not owning up to shit. That's just what she wanted to fucking do. She didn't even go to fucking jail or nothing. She faked a fucking serial killing connection. Threatened to kill the kid. Was an accessory to the murder because her brother was there probably. Not like she did anything to fucking stop him. And it's just like, okay. So it's like all these character arcs just don't go anywhere. Itsugi's still not a part of the story. John has nothing going on. What, the Kamihara detective guy is like, he, I guess, was romantically interested in her. So he followed her around, and that was his arc, was that he was actually, even though she chewed him out a lot, she cared about him and he cared about her. And we knew that in the first 15 minutes, but I guess that was the entire arc of the story by the end. He's a nameable protagonist. The first game is literally his entire story. It's literally only about him. I don't know why he's nameable. The second game is all about her, the other chick. There should have been something there, man. Well, yeah, when people were telling me there was a controversial ending, I was like, oh, is the fucking Itsugi gonna be the main? Is he gonna be the killer? Is there gonna be some bullshit? And it's like, all it is just like an OVA about, you know, family issues, which, I mean, yeah, it's hardcore. I'm not making light of it, but like, not controversial. It's I think a pretty agreed upon fucked thing that isn't a lot of media. Don't talk shit about John Famicom. Take it back. No one stopped that. Nintendo's just like, Mages needs work. We like science adventure, I guess. Somebody at Nintendo's like, I like science adventure. Let's give Mages some work. Give him a check. Keep him afloat. just make some shit. I mean, I don't know. Was there too many cooks in the kitchen? Did Nintendo want to keep it like lighter? I don't know why this game's rated M. Probably because the dad punches the daughter in the face. That's probably it. I mean, there's bodies, but there's bodies in teen games. Suicide, I guess. A little bit of drinking. It's M, I suppose, yeah, but I don't know. It's probably one of those that's like on the cusp, right? Yeah, self-harm. Oh yeah, he fucks himself up. I mean, I guess it makes sense to them. I forget about that. The Joker moment, yeah. The blood. I suppose it makes sense to me. It's all very end-loaded, but it is there, so. I don't know. Maybe the definition of controversial, I just have it different. Usually when I think controversial, I think things that people are going to not agree with things that are going to be spicy or people are going to be split on. That kind of pushes boundaries a little bit. I think this is maybe shocking or very serious subject matter, very intense maybe by the end of it at best, but I don't think it's controversial, man. Is anybody out here like repping fucking like family abuse? I don't think so, man. I think everybody thinks that's pretty bad. What the hell's controversial about it? That Nintendo sponsored it? Like, I don't fucking know. That was just a weird quote, I guess, from some review. I don't remember who said it. People just using words, man. Stop just using words. Jesus. The controversy might be the way it played out, that it's like an OVA at the end. Or that we're supposed to feel sympathetic possibly to the murderer. That's pretty common. Or I could see that then. That might be controversial, yeah. Ending it on OVA info dump instead of gameplay. That could be it. You might be right. It might not be the subject matter. It might not be a positive thing. It might be a negative thing. I thought it was supposed to be a positive thing, though. Who knows? I don't know this review. Somebody just talked about it in the chat. Or maybe it wasn't a review. Maybe it was a... I don't know. Was it a news thing? I don't know. But, yeah. So anyways... no work tomorrow, it's looking like. I don't know if I'll be working Friday, but I don't think it'll be much of it, dude. This fucking is too chipper. Like we just got through with some awesome shit. Yeah, I wouldn't mind late nighting, but there's a chance I work Friday for a little bit. I probably won't go Ultra tonight. I could. We'll see what happens. I can take that risk. I think my buddy's been doing everything this week. Which one? It's his company. Got the time, go for it, but yeah, I just don't know if I can go apeshit and do like late night craziness until Thursday night. Tomorrow night, past the point of no return, so maybe tomorrow we will be able to. I'm still gonna stay up tonight pretty late. This Vitu's coming. Yeah, we'll see what happens after Potato Flowers. Maybe we'll... Yeah, we need to do Spirit Tracks. I need to do Spirit Track. That has to happen. I should probably do Tingle. It would not hurt to do Bolt Gun before Space Marine 2. I want to play Bolt Gun. I could play it before Space Marine 2. I could do the reverse as well, so... but we'll see. We got stuff. Astrobot's coming in a couple days. So we will be doing that, but I don't expect that to be longer than 10 to 20 hours. I doubt they went crazy and did like some super long Mario game. Astrobot. Oh yeah, I guess I should say that too. I know we're joking around, and yeah, that's a fuck. But I would like them to continue. I like mysteries. I generally like Mage's work. It would be nice to see VNs get more and more popular, possibly with bigger, high-profile stuff, kind of like this from like Nintendo. I think they could do something, and arguably for 1989, they did with the second one. It's pretty good. Although maybe a lot of it's the presentation nowadays, but I think we looked up the presentation back then, and it still did pretty good. But man, yeah, I really hope they hit next time. But I don't know how many chances. These shits aren't cheap either, man. I mean, this is a full ass price game, isn't it? How much they charging in the shop, man? This is 50. Okay, so it's like essentially full price, just enough less to say that it isn't full price, but barely. It's like $10 difference, right? So I would love if they kept going. I don't think I'd be pumped for another one, but I would play it. but more for what it kind of would stand for in a way. Granted, if you, I don't know, if you've not read a lot of VNs or just read shit in general or watched a lot of thrillers or mysteries, I really recommend getting out there, cranking some other shit. You know, support those other indie ones. They're better than this story-wise, but yeah, 70 for Tears of the Kingdom. Is that still the only $70 Nintendo game, or did they just start doing it all around? I mean, they overcharge for their remakes. How much was Luigi's Mansion 2? 40? 50? 60? 60. Holy, that is crazy. I still can't believe that every time. DKC Returns 60. Thousand Year Door was 50, 60, right? Yeah, DKC Returns being 60 is nutty. It's a fucking Wii game that's pretty good, but like, are they even doing anything to it? Thousand Year Door is 60, Super Mario RPG, it's probably 60. I'm guessing Link's Awakening was 60. Yeah, they just charge full fucking price for fucking all of their remakes. And some of these are like ports. DKC Returns looks like a port. I think we looked up who was doing it, and it was a fucking like some company that just sucks ass at porting, I thought. Like, they're not gonna do shit. Yeah, LA for 60 is way too much. No remake unless it is a fucking complete reimagining, crazy mode like RE2 remake or something should be full price like that. Most of the work in these things are already done, man. I mean, they don't make, I've said it a million times, they don't make these because it's like a passion project usually. They make them because it's an easy bug. You get your outliers like Live Alive. That Famicom Detective Club even existed. It's probably a cool thing. Another Code's probably a passion deal. Like, it happens for sure, but let's be real. Nintendo ain't doing it because they're trying to fucking look fair and care about the art, man. That is $60 for that shit. That is a buck. Yeah, Live Alive's great. I really like the remake. I mean, it's the only one I played, but it's really good. I mean, are they officially doing Hotel Dusk? Just don't change anything. Just don't fucking change it. Another Code was changed, like, for the worse. But with part 2, I mean, part 1 was comfy. I liked that. Okay. But part 2 was like, they added so much crap and took so much other crap out. And it was just like, I don't know how the original one was, but it was like, it was just bad in that one. I was like, this is they finally can rejuvenate their old ass series, that their passion project, and like they just fucking just fool around with it. Like, come on, man, quit fucking around. Just like clean it up. If you want to do a brand new one, then do a fucking new one, man. Well, maybe Nintendo couldn't give them a buck for it. I don't know, but they give them a buck for a complete remake. Yeah, if they do. It's like, please do not touch Hotel Dusk. Just port from DS. East 10's end of this month? Huh. The physical version is coming out in October on Gamefly. I mean, there'd be no rush. Fine with it at that point. October 25th for me. Oh, Google's wrong. Okay. Sometimes Gamefly gets them a little later because physical's weird for some people. But all right, well, guys, I'm gonna take a piss. I guess we could shoot the shit some more, but I was probably gonna grab a drink with my brother in like an hour or something. So I don't know if I want to wait for that or just continue potato and then just take a break mid potato. I guess I could. Oh, it's already out in Japan? Or it's coming out. Wait. Coming out soon in Japan. Yeah, thank you, Arson. I appreciate the conversation with you, buddy. Oh, it's been out a year. Oh, man. I haven't even heard the reception on that. But yeah, so I'll go put this in the mail, send her back. I don't know. Maybe I'll come back and chat a little. I mean, we could start potato flowers and I could just take a break mid thing. I mean, Godo would have to sit on the stream for 20, 30 minutes. Or maybe I'll just go watch some shit for an hour. I mean, it's fine. Alright, guys. Let me take a piss. I'll come back and then if there's any combo happening in the chat, I'll hang out. Otherwise, be that till an hour and a half from now. Maybe. It looks pretty good. I hope it's good. I mean, I would be down for an experimental-ish Zelda to actually end up well. I mean, I don't think it's going to be as interesting experimental as like Breath of the Wild or something was, but for the time. But I mean, it could be cool. I mean, if anything, the 2D area would be where you'd want it. Let me put on some music. Get the VOD. Actually, maybe I'll just restart the stream, cut this for YouTube real